Welcome back to Leicester City Down Under. We are joined today by Locks from Blue Tinted Glasses. Locks, how are you?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. It's nice to visit Australia. Hey, I'm down here with you, mate. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Locks, look, mate. We're both fully off the fence now, right? Like Cooper out, like that was the nail in the coffin for me. Walsall, I don't care. That was a pub team in all due respect, and we struggled. How do you feel?
Yeah, mate. I think I've been Cooper. I was never in anyway. You know what I mean? I never wanted him at the football club. So people kept saying to me, "Give him a chance. Give him a chance." And it's hard to give someone a chance when you never wanted them in the first place. It's like, can you imagine, mate? You're on a night out, yeah, and this like really ugly girl comes up to you, yeah, and she's like, "Hey, you wanna go and get a drink? You wanna buy me a drink? You wanna maybe come back to my place?" And you're like, "No, I'm all good. I'm all good." And then like your mate just starts saying, "Give her a chance. Give her a chance." No, I didn't want her. I don't want her. Just leave me alone, right? Why do I need to give somebody a chance that I don't fucking want? So yeah, that's the situation I'm in right now. But to be fair, when people were saying to me stuff like, they were saying stuff to me like, "Oh well, we got a point against Spurs. We had a decent performance against Villa." I said, I understand it. I hear you. I'm not saying it's been 100% bad, but after the Everton game and probably after the Palace game as well, after we dropped a 2-0 lead, I am just 100% get that guy gone. I hate him. I hate him so much. And it sounds mean because I've never met him, and I'm sure if I met him, I would like him. But as a football manager, I hate him. So that's where I'm at. Very firmly off the fence.
I was firmly off the fence. Like I never wanted him to begin with, and also like the Lens game as well was very scary. People say don't read too much in the preseason, but we were able to read so much into Enzo and his style and his strategy. And one thing I want to touch on is as well. This is why we'll talk about the board later, right? But just for now, if you remember, Enzo came in and like the first thing he does is like he gets a new goalkeeper. We all thought, Everson was going to be goalkeeper coming into that. He wants a goalkeeper with his feet. We back him. Cool, fair enough. We get Hermanson, but he also drains the swamp of all the back staff and stuff and brings his whole team in. Good. He wants to change the identity. He even wants, as far as I believe, the under 21s and the 23s to all be playing the same brand of football so that like when they're coming through the youth academy and they, start to break through, they slot straight into that system. Hence why, the likes of Pep and Man City work so well. Yes, they have the depth, but they play to a system so that when someone fits in, it works.
Yeah.
What's our system? Who fucking knows? Getting in each other's way and having one fullback and now sometimes both that sometimes get up the pitch with your weaker players. So again, don't be too personal with Cooper. I got slack for talking shit about him eating apple for a tennis racket and having an orc face. But look, mate, it's just banter. I don't hate the guy personally, but I hate him as a manager. Also, like you said of our club, can you see any progression with him as a manager? No, I can't.
No, mate,
It's
it was
just
the same, wasn't it? It was the same with Forest the second year. They stayed up by the skin of their teeth only because Leeds, Southampton, and Leicester was so terrible, by the way. And they stayed up. And then the following year, yeah, he gets sacked because there was no improvement. And this is what I kept hearing. Well, he had so many players to gel together. I mean, is a year not enough? Look at Enzo Maresca at Chelsea. He's gone in there. They've got so many players, and he's already putting a stamp on it, making them gel a little bit. So I don't buy, and it's not taken Nuno long, is it? It's not taken Nuno 2 years to do it. So why did it need to take Steve Cooper 2 years? I'm hearing he's such a lovely guy and he's so good and he's Mr. PR, but even he fell out with players at Forest. He forced them out, and like we're seeing at Leicester, he did that at Forest, and he had like club legends playing in the under 21s and training with the under 21s. It's just a joke, and like you said, I mean, we've discussed it a little bit already, but the rumors of like falling outs behind the scenes or players not buying into it, it's so believable because of how poor the football is, how poor he does appear as a manager. I don't know if it was you. It might have been you who said it on my show on the other day. I don't know I'm sure it was you. It might be somebody else, but someone said he's a glorified youth coach. I don't know if that was you who said that, but somebody said it and it kind of struck with me because it's like, it's true. He did that with the England youth. He won the World Cup. Props to you, mate. That's a good achievement. But then He failed to get Swansea promoted, even though they did play well. He got Forest promoted with the worst football I've ever seen, by the way. I know they played better in the Championship, but it was like they didn't score a goal in the playoffs. I'm sure that's what happened. They didn't score in the semis and they didn't score in the final, and they got through on like penalties and stuff. Or if they did score, it was like one goal. So yeah, I don't buy into this that he's a good coach, he's a good manager, he's pragmatic. I keep saying it and time again. It doesn't sound pragmatic to me to not play your best players. Surely you have to play your best players, give yourself a chance to win. That's it, mate.
Hey, that is bang on, Lock. So, in a nutshell, I completely don't agree with that either. Developing youth, like, let's be honest here, with all due respect, England's always going to have some of the best youth prospects in the world. So I'm not saying it's like he hasn't achieved something, but look, it wasn't like he had to have nothing to work with, so to speak, in terms of talent in his players. But developing youth, Golding, I felt like we were just forced to take that because Golding, I think it was a 6-year deal for Keenan Dewsbury Hall. I think it works out mathematically that the $5 million per year that we paid for Golding paid off for Keenan Dewsbury Hall and FFP, so they basically paid nothing for him. You would like to think that we're like, look, we'll give you Keenan Dewsbury Hall, but we want Golding. I don't think that's the case. I think they made us take him. Apparently, he's doing well at the youth, but look, we're not seeing him. He should have gone out on loan. Will Alves not featuring, should have got on loan, ruining his development. It's just stupid, in my opinion. Again, I don't agree with that. And then going into like him saying, "Oh, I watched every single game of Leicester last season." Did you? Fuck, like you didn't. Like, I think we should be playing up a back three. We should look. I could rant to ages about what we should and should not be doing, but it's clearly not working. And he didn't watch us last year and freezing out Ricardo, as you can see below, free Ricardo Pereira. It's just criminal. Locks. I won't talk about it too much because I only talked about it with Anil yesterday in a good video, but in terms of conspiracy theories, but the morale is clearly not there. Winks, again, I think came because of Maresca to play to a system. A lot of players came purely because of Maresca in the league below. Ricardo's been frozen out. Winks, I think, looks, like Anil said, dejected. Like he looks super frustrated. People are saying he hasn't been playing that great. I don't really necessarily think it's his fault. I think it's the system we're playing in. It doesn't suit him. He's one I can see going whether we get relegated or not if we persist of Cooper. Rogers, you said earlier, I think he should have been gone after the Brentford game. The writing was on the wall. We walked into a relegation. We cannot afford to do that again. People saying give Cooper 10 games, I think, are crazy. And I'll say why. We cannot afford to financially get relegated with the EFL chomping at the bit to absolutely bend us over if we get relegated. And then we're going to cop it from the Leeds fan if we swap on the way up and down. Like, look, the time is now. People say that we're the younger generation of Leicester, don't remember the bad times and to be patient. But look, mate, we've got a state-of-the-art training facility. We have money. We have somewhat players left that we can make money from. The time is now to stay up, and otherwise we could be down there for 10 years. I don't think we'll pop straight back up. Locks, I know that was a bit of a rant, mate, but how do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, I want to address one thing you said there about being the younger generation. I'm telling you now, if anybody who's watching this, right, who is over the age of 50 and you are thinking or saying, it's okay, we were in League One 15 years ago, respectfully, shut up, because it's so stupid. Like, how narrow-minded do you want to be? You are holding the club back, just accepting all the shit just because 15 years ago we were in League One. My first ever football game, my first ever Leicester City game was in League One against Bristol Rovers, right? So don't try and tell me that, the younger generation aren't aware of how bad it used to be. Yes, we are. But just because we want the club to be the best it can possibly be, just because we think that after winning the Premier League, having European campaigns, finishing fifth, winning the FA Cup, we want to see the club maybe not exceed that, but at least build on it, use it as kind of a bit of momentum. That's gone. The momentum is gone now in terms of how good we were back then. But we had a chance to build more momentum when we got promoted to the Premier League. And yes, we were held back. We were set back by Enzo Maresca leaving the club. Keenan Dewsbury Hall, I think that was more of a club decision anyway for PSR reasons. And the club said during the whole recruitment process, it was said by BBC Radio Leicester, TalkSport, Sky Sports News that Leicester City were after a manager of the similar ilk to Enzo Maresca, and they've done the complete opposite. So that only says one thing to me. There was no plan. Maybe they went for Graham Potter. They couldn't do it. So rather than maybe dropping down then to a Carlos Corberán, exciting football, a dynamic bit of, dynamic football, they've instead just gone for the complete cheap option. They've gone for Steve Cooper, whether it is because it's the cheap option or whether it's because he kept Forest up 1 year or whether it's because, I don't know, maybe there's people at the club who just like Steve Cooper or have met him before. I don't know what it is, but to me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why they went for Steve Cooper. And now they are going to regret their decision massively because I keep saying this, you pay cheap, you pay twice. And that's what's going to happen because they're going to have to sack him. I don't think he's on the longest contract and I don't think he's on the most expensive contract, but they're still going to have to pay him off when they sack him. And then they're going to have to look for another manager. And I don't care whether it's Carlos Corberán, whether it's Graham Potter, whether it's David Moyes, or whether it's someone from League Two. It's going to cost money to then bring in another manager. So they've messed up again. And some people started to forgive them because we got promoted first time. Some people were like, see, Rudkin, Whelan, they're fine. It's all good. Look, we've got promoted first chance. No, it's still as shit as it was. It is still as shit as it was. And yes, I have hope that they will sack him sooner rather than later. But again, because we know what this board are like, it wouldn't surprise me if we got into January or February and Steve Cooper's still at the football club and we're bottom of the league and they still haven't sacked him. It wouldn't surprise me one bit, mate.
That's what fucking scares me because I'm 100% with you. I think that particularly what happened with Rodgers, and you and Anil was right to point out, credit in the bank. What has Cooper got with credit in the bank? It's been over 18 games without a win for him. If you can combine our time at Forest, that fucking scares me. Also, on that subject with the board, which segues perfectly what I was going to ask you next anyway. Credit to them, they got it right with Maresca, yeah, and people do forget, and I'll give them their roses for that. And they backed Enzo, and that was great. But they weren't honest to him. And that's part of the reason why I'm not mad at him for leaving. This FFP, they were dishonest with him. He saw his chance at Chelsea. I understand why he done it. Yes, people are upset, but that's just it. And then look, in terms of the older generation, I completely agree with you. I know that not people are going to like to hear that, and this goes into perfectly how much is the board to blame here. They went cheap. They say they wanted to maintain a possession brand of football. Is that why Cooper came out and said, I watched every game last season? Is he bullshitting? Is it both? I understand a lot of people were like, well, who would want to come? We have FFP hanging over our head. The reality is that Seagrave is a state-of-the-art facility. We are a Premier League club, the biggest league in the world, in my opinion, in terms of depth, other than La Liga. Yeah. You can't tell me that you can't. And like you said, we're going to have to pay someone else off now. And it goes back into what I said to you earlier about, the whole system changing with Enzo when he came in and drowning the swamp and wanting to have a possession-based style identity. I'm worried, and I don't want to wait 10 games. I want to get it done now or get it done before or after Bournemouth and then at least have that international break with a new manager to work with the players. What do you think, Lux? Sorry. Yeah.
Go on.
But sorry, I was meant to say to you was, people won't like to hear this, but how much is the board to blame here? Like, it's obviously Cooper as well, but he's been appointed by the board. Would you call Kuhn Top a coward if he doesn't sack this orc?
I already think Kuntop is a coward. I think Kuntop is out of his depth at the football club. I don't think he's good enough to actually run this football club, and people will say it's harsh. No. Just because of what Vishai did for the football club, right? That doesn't mean that I can't then criticize Kuntop. It's bullshit. Kuntop, right? I look at things very simply, mate, right? So I break things down. So I look at if a chance is missed on a football pitch, let's say by Daka, that's Daka's fault. If Daka keeps playing shit and he still plays, that's Cooper's fault. If Cooper's doing a shit job and he's not sacked, that's Rudkin's job. If Rudkin's doing shit and he's not sacked, it's Top's fault. And Top is at the top. Literally, it's in his name, Top. And he is the one who has ran this football club so shit since Vishai sadly died. And yes, we had the FA Cup win in between, but I still think that was a hangover, if you like, from Vishai. As soon as then he had to start making his own decisions, things started spiraling out. We moved to Seagrave too soon. I have a rumor for you, and it's something that I heard from a very reliable source, and I'm not bullshitting, that Vishai did not want to build Seagrave until we actually got into Champions League. And Rodkin and Whelan pushed Top into doing it sooner when we were just in the Europa League. And we moved there, and I still believe that that is a part of our downfall because we had such a tight-knit feeling around the club at Beaver Drive because it's such an old-school, traditional, small training ground. We moved to Seagrave. The players are at a 5-star all-inclusive lads' holiday camp. That's what Seagrave is. They stroll in, they park in the Lamborghinis in the car park, they go in and have their lunch. They leave the plates out on the tables for the staff to collect them. Then they go for a swim. You know, they leave all their bloody swimwear just lying around. Someone picks that up for them. Then they go out and have a kickabout with fucking Steve Cooper. And then they get back, drive home, and then they go out, right? So it's so bad, mate. There's so many things at this club, right, that have Vishai would not have stood for. Vishai would not have stood for it. And Top has allowed it. And yes, I hear people say, well, Vishai was also keen on Rodkin, but I believe that if Rodkin had made as many mistakes as he has recently, Vishai would have probably pulled the trigger, whereas Top will not do it because he's a coward, I'm sorry to say, guys. So shoot me for that all you want, I don't care, but he is a coward, and if he doesn't sack Cooper, he is a bigger coward, and if he doesn't sack Cooper and we get relegated and then our cheeks are spread by the EFL, again, I've already said it once in the last year, I'll say it again, Top needs to fucking go, and I'm not joking. Because he is the one that is in charge of this football club. We all praised Vishai when we won the Premier League and we were in Champions League. So then why can't we criticize the man that has us in the Championship, getting points deducted by the EFL for stuff? It's just so. Yeah, to answer your question, I blame Top, then I blame Rodkin, and then I blame Cooper. But the performances on the pitch are the responsibility of the manager, and the manager then has to go. And if the manager doesn't go, then it's above him who are at fault.
Mate, I would have clipped that whole rant because I'm with you, and I know we're definitely going to cop some heat for that. But like, look, opinions are opinions, and I'm of the same opinion as you. And I know people will say be careful what you wish for, but like, let's wait until the end of the season, and then we'll address the Top situation. But like, let's say we do go down, yeah, definitely going to see some passionate rants for some people, ourselves included. Look, just this was started off as a Steve Cooper bashing, which is fine by both of us, but this is a preview. I am just going to quickly. I'm not going to go in too depth about Arsenal. A lot of us know what they're about. They're going to have a lot of possession. We're probably going to play a low block, but look, just to like really make people brick it a little bit more and like squeaky bum time because of the football we're playing under Cooper. This is, I'm sorry, I've just lost it here. I just want to pull up Arsenal's bench because against again, they've just made Bolton bend the knee. They are a lower league division. Here we go. Okay. This is the bench. Ben White, Jesus, like Jorginho, Sterling, like just those names alone are terrifying. I'm expecting Trossard's going to be out. Odegaard's still injured. We're looking at having probably most likely Saka and Martinelli on each side of the wing when they play us. Yeah. The idea of them against depending on JJ's form and Victor Christensen scares me. How are you feeling about the depth of Arsenal and like the way we're playing right now? Like, do you think we're going to play a low block and try and like hold off shithouse of victory? Or do you think we're just going to absolutely bend the knee?
Well, we do that against the fucking shit teams. So we're definitely going to do it against Arsenal. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we will play low block. We'll just try and stay in the game for as long as possible. Cooper's favourite thing. The games are close. And you know what, mate? We could lose. You know, for me, I don't care if we lose 3-0 or 1-0. I genuinely don't. I'm expecting a loss this weekend. I would rather maybe lose 3-0 and actually try and attack them. And I'm being deadly serious about that. Just give us something in a game that we all know is going to be very difficult and we're probably going to lose, or we're definitely going to lose. At least just give us a bit of excitement from it. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we have 0 shots on target for the whole 90 minutes, 10% possession. You know, we'll just sit back in a low block. I know Anil is of the opinion that we might go with a back 5, and I could see it. I suppose a back 3, maybe the 3 centre backs like Fassa, Coley, and Cody. Jesus Christ, and then wing backs. You know, I suppose of Christensen and JJ. It wouldn't surprise me then, mate, if he throws Ricardo Pereira in. Right, we lose 3-0. And then he goes, well, see, Ricardo's no good. I'm going back to JJ. Like, it's this type of bullshit that Steve Cooper would pull off. So, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I mean, I'm doing the watch along for it, so that's going to be fun. I'm just going to be constantly on OBS changing the Arsenal score. So join me for that one. But yeah, it's just I'm not looking forward to it. And as you said, the depth of Arsenal, yeah, it's a joke. I mean, even the players you didn't mention there on their bench, like Jacob Kivior, the defender, he's good. He's a young good player. Ethan Nwani or Nwaneri.
Just scored a brace.
And I saw a couple Arsenal fans reckon he might actually start the game against Leicester because of like Trossard out and stuff like that, and Odegaard injured. So that could happen. So yeah, mate, I'm not looking forward to it. I think we'll lose. I hear what I could only go off what Wolfie, the Forest fan, has told me, because so far everything he's told me about Steve Cooper has been bang on. So what he also told me was we won't get battered by Arsenal because of how Steve Cooper will set up. He actually likes the games against the Big Six cartel because he has a right or an excuse to play low block football without the fans moaning about it. So we will probably see that. Maybe 1-0, 2-0, something like that. But it's going to be a shit day, mate. It's going to be horrible. Really. It really is.
It's I'm expecting that. Look, let's get into it. Look, we're going to pull up my 11, Locke's 11, and we're going to pull up a donkey 11 of Steve Cooper. We'll start with mine. Here we are here. Okay, let's pull that up. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So I would rather play a back three of two wing backs if need be. You know they're going to drop back Ricardo and JJ, particularly out of possession, but I'd rather have a Coley in the left-sided centre back. Now, I believe Vestergaard has hurt his ankle and not been frozen out of the squad, but hypothetically, if he was available, this is how I would line up, because he's going to be able to control the ball, speed up the game if need be, slow it down. You can rely on his passing distribution, particularly if it's in the right system, i.e. Maresca, and wings. So we've got Coley, Vestergaard, and Faze as your three centre-backs, with Hermansen in possession if need be, pushing out the pitch. We're not going to see that this game. We're probably going to, like you said, have very little possession. Now, in my opinion, JJ will not be the fullback that pushes up the pitch if we have possession. It's going to be Ricardo making that run if need be. He's smart enough to know as well when to track back. Now, we've got Winks and Skip, who are very, very, good on the ball as your double pivot. But again, we're probably going to be parking the bus. You got Ndidi. Now, I know you're probably going to want to shout for Boyanote, and I completely agree. But I just think with this game that we're going to need Ndidi. He's not going to really be feeding much balls. It's just more about winning the ball back further up the pitch. But I'm completely in favour of bringing in Boyanote in the last, 10, 15 or 20 minutes to try and hit a smash and grab. Mavididi, he tracks back well, and he can take his man on. He has to start this game. The fact that he didn't start the other games as well is another reason why I want Cooper sacked. That was criminal. Dakova Reed, I'm sorry, is a bit of a donkey. Mavididi has to start in the left wing. And then you've obviously got Vardy, who loves playing the big six. And if we're hitting and hoping for a ball over the top and him running off the shot of his man, he's the man for it of his football brain, even at his age. Talk to me, Locks, and what you think. I know you probably want to see a back three again, but this is probably going to look like a back five. I expect to see a 5-3-2, but talk to me what you think of this.
Yeah, mate. I mean, obviously, I know we'll look at my team soon, but this is probably the smartest way to play against Arsenal, in terms of trying to stay in the game, trying to be solid at the back with a solid structure, and then have an opportunity to counter. Obviously, my team's a bit more free flowing, I think, but this one I think is definitely. I mean, this likely could happen again if Vestergaard's injured. It could be Cody in there. It can't be Ben Nelson, can it? Because he's gone. So probably Cody. And then, the midfield three, we probably will see that. Winks, Skip, and Ndidi. We saw it against Palace. So we're going to see it against Arsenal, you'd imagine. And, the fact that Facundo Buonanotte played in midweek against Walsall might be an indication that he won't play on the weekend. So I think it's a good team, mate. Ricardo, I would probably say, isn't going to be there. Even if we do set up like this, we all know what Steve Cooper wants, and it's not Ricardo Pereira, it's JJ with Christensen on the left. But again, this team is probably more solid than a team with Victor Christensen in. You know what I mean? So it could well be what we see. But again, I'd be surprised if Ricardo plays because it's Steve Cooper. Steve
Yep,
Pooper.
that's Steve Pooper. I'll close that. Let's pull up your 11, and then we'll pull up the Donkey 11, which is very, very likely. Okay, here we go. This is Lox's 11. Lox, talk me through this, mate.
Yeah, man. So I mean, we're definitely not going to see this, by the way, but this is just what I'd like to see. So, of course, it's the back line that we've seen in other games, bar James Justin. Obviously, I've got Ricardo in there instead. I think what I think is the best midfield double pivot, if you like, that we have available, Winks and Skip. I think they complement each other so well. Of course, that might benefit us more in a game against the lesser sides like Bournemouth, for example, or Southampton. But still, I think it is our best midfield pairing. In terms of Buonanotte, I get it. Indeed, he has been one of our best players, and that is something that I have been proved wrong on because he has been creative. However, I still think he slows us down too much sometimes in attack. He can't trap a ball to save his life. I did see what Kate said on your show the other morning, which is so true. And she said that his second touch is always a tackle because his first touch is so poor, he has to try and win the ball back. So that is true. And I think Buonanotte has been the best player this season. Every time he's played, I've been impressed. He's a classic Argentinian, right? Just honestly, his work rate. He's a bit dirty. When I say dirty, I don't mean dirty as in bad fouls or bad tackles, but in terms of he's always getting his foot in there. He's always trying to win the ball, high energy. So I think that would actually suit a game against maybe in a counter-attacking side, and obviously with the press. Of course, I'm asking for Mavididi and Fatawu because it's criminal that they haven't played a game with each other anymore because Coward Cooper wants one attacking winger and one defensive winger in Jordan Ayew or the donkey Deckled over Reed. And then Jamie Vardy is always going to start against the big six, 100%. And Odson Edward was terrible anyway against Walsall, so he doesn't deserve a chance ahead of him. It will be interesting to see what happens when Patson Daka's back, that's for sure. I think he will be in the team. But for now, Mr. Vardy, I think, will be there against Arsenal. And it wouldn't surprise me if he scored because he loves a goal against them. So, yeah, this is... we're not going to see this. I'm throwing it out there now. I'm not saying we're going to see this against Arsenal. It's never, ever, 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 ever going to happen. I think the odds for this would be higher than 5,000 to 1, if I'm honest. I think this would be about 10,000 to 1 for this team to be fielded against Arsenal. But this is, I don't know about you, mate. I think this is our most exciting lineup available. This is the most exciting one.
It is, and 100% I agree with only one exception, which I want to ask you about before I go to the Donkey 11, is Christensen. Now, he's been poor, but people could argue that JJ's been more poor. Which is hard for me and ironic because I've always kind of said that I've actually preferred JJ on the right. Obviously, not in front of Ricardo, but I've always liked him on the right prior to this season. And I don't know if that's because of him or because of Cooper's tactics. Christensen, I think he kind of integrated the team to keep him happy, so he didn't want to leave. He didn't seem keen on coming back, but now it's just gone on too long. Talk to me about why you would keep Christensen in over JJ.
So with Christensen, I genuinely think that the year we got relegated, he was out of the signings that we made, Wout Faes, Christensen, Harry Suter, and Tete. I thought Christensen was the best out of that bunch. And instantly when he came into the team, the passion he showed, the energy levels, the commitment, I think were top notch. I was really gutted when in that summer he went to Bologna on loan because I thought he would be one hell of the best fullback maybe along with Ricardo in the Championship. Obviously Enzo Maresca's system didn't suit him, so he went on loan. So when obviously Enzo left and I thought, oh, we've got a manager now who might actually use his fullbacks, I was actually quite excited about the thought of Christensen. And I thought he did really well in the first game against Tottenham. And I watched him in the Euros. He wasn't great, but he had some good moments. And so, yeah, I thought against Tottenham he was good. He struggled in a few other games. Against Everton, I thought he was okay as well. And I just think he offers something a little bit more than James Justin. Of course, if we're being realistic, Arsenal, defensively, you probably do want JJ there at left back. But again, I don't think JJ was that good last season in the Championship. He was sharing his minutes with Callum Doyle. And in my opinion, James Justin is a right back. He's a right back. And I know he played at left back under Rodgers quite a lot, and he played at left centre back. But for me, Christensen is the better all-rounded left back. And so that's why I want him in the team. Again, I understand it though why people would want JJ, but all you have to do is look at the statistics and the facts. 5 out of our 8 goals conceded have come down the right hand side where JJ is. For me, he's been the obvious weak link. There's been a couple weak links in the team, but if you actually watch games for 90 minutes, JJ is the one who looks most exposed. So for me, in that case, I think it might just not drop him completely, but just move him to the bench, get Ricardo in the team. Because I think Christensen deserves to keep his place in the team over JJ. That's my thing, mate. I don't think it would be fair to drop Christensen and keep JJ in the team. So that's why I've gone with him.
That's a good take, mate. I agree with everything that you said. I do kind of prefer JJ, but I absolutely agree with you about I was gutted that he didn't stay after the relegation season. I thought he was really good. Traditional fullback, really good at making those roving runs forward, integrating Harvey Barnes into the game when Harvey would go quiet. And I always wanted to see the partnership between him and Madvididi. But so far, in my opinion, they've gotten each other's way a bit. It hasn't worked out, but I put that down to Cooper rather than the players.
It is.
Great.
Cooper.
100%. Now it's not too different, but there's reasons why I don't like it. But I'm going to pull up what I kind of expect to see now. He probably will play a deep low block, but if he doesn't, this is what I expect him to do. Let me just pull this up. The Donkey 11. And here we go. Donkey 11. Okay. This is what I expect to see. This is why I think, look, it's not that bad. It's quite similar to some of the things I think. The main reason I call it a Donkey 11 is because I just can't comprehend how, I'm not saying he's bad, but Ayew starting. I would not be surprised if Dakota Reed was on the left, but Ayew. Now, Locks, in my opinion, he's a finisher, not a starter, and he's a finisher if we have the lead. I cannot comprehend, and obviously JJ in instead of Ricardo. This is what I truly expect to see. Talk to me about what you think of this 11.
I like Jordan Ayew, but yeah, not for the reasons that I should like him. Does that make sense? I know that might, I like him, but for not the reasons I should like him. I think I agree with you. He has traits. Let's call it traits. It sounds like we're talking about. Yeah, I won't say what I was going to say, but yeah, it sounds like.
Say it. Go on.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're like. No, don't worry. I don't want to get cancelled. But yeah, so I don't like Jordan Ayew for his for how I should like him. I think I think his touch is good. The ball seems to glue to his foot. He wins a lot of fouls. Sorry, man. I've lost my head. He wins a lot of fouls. He runs around a lot, but he won't beat a man. He won't put a quality. He won't put a quality ball into the box. He might score a screamer, as we saw against Tranmere. But yeah. So I don't mind it, but I agree with you. Probably best as a finisher. So I want to see Fatawu at the end of the day, but Cooper's too coward to play him and them and Mavididi together. Bobby Deckled over Reed. I'm surprised you didn't put him in the Donkey 11. Can you imagine Ayew and Deckled over Reed in the team together? I mean, that would be tragic. That would be a full Donkey 11. That would be. But in regards to the rest of the team, I think it's. I mean, we've seen a lot of it. It's pretty much the same as what we've seen, isn't it? So. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, but yeah, looking at this team, maybe I would just prefer the low block back five. You know what I mean? Maybe I would prefer that because at least it's something different, right? At least it's something different to what we've seen. So, yeah.
So closing thoughts are, in my opinion, of what we in terms of donkiness. Cooper, the one thing you can identify is that he favors, being physical in the 50-50s. He likes Premier League experienced players, even if it's to the detriment of our starting 11, i.e. not starting Fatawu and Mavididi on both wings. What the fuck's that about? I don't know. We've ranted about enough as it is, but can't wait to have a moan. But you know what? I'll leave it with this. We'll get into the score predictions in a second. Everyone, if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Get your thoughts in about what you think. Are we being too controversial? Are we being too nasty about the board? Nick, shout out, mate.
I think we've been kind. I don't think we've been too harsh at all.
I think we're just saying some stuff that people don't have the bollocks to say, or some people won't like to hear this, are boomers. But look, closing thoughts. I would be so Leicester to shithouse a smash and grab win at the end of this game after playing a low block, and then people are going to tell us that we're idiots and this and that. Yeah, we'll just wait till the next few games after that. You fuckwit. But like, but like, let's see what happens. But I don't want us to lose. But Locks, give us a score prediction.
Oh, I don't think we'll get thumped. I'll say 2-0. I don't think we'll get thumped. I've seen some people say, I mean, on my show last night, it was like 6-0, 7-0, 5-0, 4-0. And again, I'm trusting Wolfie, the Forest fan, because everything he's told me is true so far. Everything's come true. So I'm going to trust him that we won't get thumped, and I'll say 2-0. And I think that would be, I mean, I don't care if we lose 8-0. He won't get sacked from the Arsenal game. So 2-0 Leicester. Sorry, no, not 2-0 Leicester. 2-0 Arsenal. Bloody hell, not 2-0 Leicester. 2-0 Arsenal.
In Cooper, we trust Locks. Nick's gone for 2-1 Leicester. I'm going to go for, 3-0 Arsenal, 1-0 for Leicester. We might get a smash and grab consolation goal at the end when we probably decide that we finally want to attack in the last, 5-10 minutes. Who knows? Locks, thank you heaps for joining me, mate. Give us a shout out to all your socials and whatnot. Give yourself a plug.
Yeah, cheers, man. Blue tinted glasses, Leicester City fan channel. So yeah, if you just search blue tinted glasses, it should come up. So you might get photos of actual blue tinted glasses, so just ignore them and just go to the channel section. But yeah, match day live on Saturday, which Luke will be a part of, hopefully. So yeah, come and see Luke on Saturday as well, and a nil, of course. And then plenty of content throughout the week. So yeah, man, cheers.
Thanks, mate. It's always good. It's really good to have you on, and I'm looking forward to doing that show of you. Thank you for tuning in, Paran. Arsenal fan here. Hope we have a good game. Mate, best of luck to you. I think you guys are probably going to be licking your lips now that Rodri is injured. That's a massive out for Man City, but that's a whole other conversation. But look, best of luck to you, mate. You're a great side, and yeah, I like the solidity and the unity that you have under Mikel Arteta. This is Luke from Leicester City Down Under. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you on the weekend.
Cheers.